I'm Marilee Caruso. It's Thursday, June 19th. Today, picking through the pieces.
They actually spent hours on their hands and knees, siphoning through the remnants of the homes.
How people in the Lac du Bonnet area are cleaning up after devastating wildfires overtook the community. Also today, an eye in the sky.
We're internalizing a little bit of these extreme weather events.
What Canadians are saying about extreme weather and how it's impacting them. And going under the hood in St. Vital. Why one councillor says it's time to review driving behavior on a busy thoroughfare. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We're getting a look inside the hard-hit Lac du Bonnet area after fires tore through, killing 2 people and leveling homes. Cleanup efforts are underway, helped in no small part by a Christian nonprofit stepping in where some say local officials are falling behind. To explain, CTV's Catherine Dowd joins us now. Catherine, what group is this and how exactly are they helping?
Marilee, it's called Christian and Ministries Canada. They have 4 rapid response teams in the country and one is currently at work in Lac du Bonnet's Wendigo Road area.
We try to carefully move the metal off where the house would have been and go through the ashes. We have some screens that we kind of work the ashes through.
And sifting through the ashes made a huge difference for at least one couple. Teams were able to recover one of their wedding rings in the ruins of their former home. Aside from searching for valuables, the teams are credited with clearing away hundreds of pounds of debris. Resident Brad Wood says they've been an enormous help, where he feels local officials are dragging their feet.
I would say firstly that if we didn't have the help from the ministry, we would not look like we do today. The RM had offered up a lot of assistance up front, but has been unable to hold up to their end for reasons you would have to ask them about.
The nonprofit has members from Ontario and Manitoba helping out in Lac du Bonnet, including from Winkler and Arberg.
Catherine, how are local officials responding to some of this criticism?
Well, Marilee, Lac du Bonnet Reeve Lauren Schinkel says they are applying for money to help with the recovery, but in the meantime, the RM has hired a contractor to start removing hundreds of burnt trees. He says, however, they were advised by insurance companies to hold off on immediate remediation work due to health risks. CTV's Joseph Bernacki was in the area today, and we'll have more on the cleanup efforts. That's all coming up at 6 o'clock.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Catherine.
You're welcome.
The province is beginning to decommission most congregate shelters in Winnipeg, which temporarily housed wildfire evacuees.
We have been able to find hotels for evacuees, and in Winnipeg, no one is staying at the congregate shelter any longer.
Infrastructure Minister Lisa Naylor says Leela Soccer Complex will remain operational in the event more communities are evacuated. She adds there's still a congregate shelter in Thompson, which is housing around 114 people. 14 communities are still under evacuation orders, and officials say plans are underway to start sending even more people home. But there are a few things that need to happen first.
This includes ensuring that medical staff are able to return to the community, that hydro is up and running, that law enforcement has been able to be reestablished, and that schools are cleaned and ready to receive students. Beyond that, grocery stores need to be restocked and gas stations need to be opened. Water treatment plants need to be up and running, and EMS and fire need to be reestablished in the community.
The number of active wildfires remains unchanged at 21, with 7 burning out of control. Officials caution they are expecting lightning strikes to spark more in the near future. Meantime, nearly 100 wildfire-related charges and dozens of warnings have been handed out by the province. In the latest wildfire update, the province says since May 1st, 93 charges have been laid and 31 warnings given out. The province didn't elaborate on specifically what the charges were for. Manitoba's state of emergency remains in effect until June 26th. The school year is winding down, but before it does, educational support workers in the Winnipeg School Division could go on strike. Manitoba government and general employees union members in the division voted in favor of a strike mandate earlier this week. The support workers' last contract expired in July. At issue is classroom violence, fewer resources, and wages the union says are not keeping up with other divisions or the cost of living. A strike date has not yet been set. A city councillor wants the city to consider adding extra stop signs on a well-used street in St. Vital. Local councillor Brian Mays has put forward a motion for a traffic study on Des Muron between Regal and Blenheim Avenues. It runs parallel to St. Anne's Road near the St. Mary's Road intersection. And during the short time our cameras were there, CTV News observed a number of vehicles rolling right through stop signs. May's motion says residents are raising concerns over speeding on Des Muron and are asking for more stop signs as there is a school, playground, and pool nearby. The study would look at speed compliance, safety risks, and the impact of some more stop signs. The motion goes before council Wednesday. Nearly 1 in 4 Canadians say they have been personally affected by extreme weather in the past 12 months. That's according to a new poll by Leger. The most common response was being forced indoors due to air quality concerns and suffering emotional distress. A majority also said wildfires, poor air quality, wide temperature fluctuations, and extreme heat are all more common than they were 5 years ago. Yet the share of people saying they are concerned about climate change has actually dropped from 63% in August to 59% now.
I think it's in part 2 factors maybe. We're internalizing a little bit of these extreme weather events, and so they're not as maybe worrisome for people as they used to be. We're dealing with it. And I say the other thing, just given the nature of what else is going around us these days in the world, issues with our American neighbors and stuff going on in the Middle East, it's maybe there's just other things preoccupying the minds of a lot of Canadians.
Leger surveyed 1,529 Canadians between June 13th and 15th. The results have a margin of error of plus or minus 2.5%. The survey results come a day after scientists released the Global Climate Change Report. They predict society will cross the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold by early 2028, after which long-term global warming will become more likely than not. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. Tracking anything extreme or worrisome for us tonight?
Absolutely. There is a tornado watch in effect tonight for parts of southwestern Manitoba. A thunderstorm is moving through Dauphin right now, and it looks like it's producing not just an awful lot of lightning, but hail too. And Dauphin is one of the communities under that tornado watch. So is the entirety of that region, the Minnedosa region and the Verdun region. Now, there are thunderstorms that will be coming in that are expected to be severe from Saskatchewan tonight, and the conditions, well, the mix is there for them to produce tornadoes. So I'll have more details on that and how long this tornado threat will last. Further south, Melita under a severe thunderstorm watch, all related to the same system. More to come on that. Let's take a look right now, though, through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, it's warm, 27 degrees out there, light winds from the north, the pressure's dropping, and the humidity is 39%. Out in traffic, a live look out at Portage Avenue, east and westbound in front of Polo Park. All is well there, but Provencher east of Des Murons, the rail crossing lights are malfunctioning and flashing, and expect delays for east and westbound traffic there.
Despite community pushback, a controversial subdivision in St. Andrews is going ahead. What conditions the RM is promising to address just ahead.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Hello there. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne insists that Ottawa is going ahead with a digital sales tax aimed at global internet giants despite U.S. objections. However, the minister also said the future of the levy, quote, is something we're considering as part of broader discussions. There is speculation that Canada will use that proposed tax as a bargaining chip in trade talks with Washington. It would hit companies such as Amazon, Google parent Alphabet, and Meta with a 3% levy on revenue. Meanwhile, still on trade, the Prime Minister, Mr. Carney, said Canada will soon adopt tariffs to tackle global overcapacity and unfair trade in steel and aluminum. and will also adjust existing counter tariffs on U.S. metal products on July 21st, following the U.S. imposition of duties on metal imports from Canada. The Canadian dollar changed hands at 73 US cents, down a fraction. West Texas Intermediate oil was at $73.88, up 38 cents. Our latest fix on Western Canadian Select oil, $61.48 a barrel, up 23 cents. And the TSX Composite closed at 26,506.0, down just under 54 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Winnipeg police hope you can help identify a suspect in an armed robbery. It happened Monday morning at a convenience store in the 400 block of Mountain Avenue. Today, police released these security camera images of the suspect. Officers say he was armed, but no shots were fired and no one was hurt. The suspect was wearing a black Under Armour hoodie, a light-colored baseball cap, and a camouflage face mask. He was also carrying a Swiss Gear backpack. If you have information that could help investigators, you're asked to call Major Crimes or Crime Stoppers. A controversial development proposed in a rural community north of Winnipeg has been approved. The Red River Planning District voted in favor of a subdivision application for a proposed gated community in the RM of St. Andrews. A developer can begin work to subdivide a 20-acre parcel of land into 76 lots with a new road. Some residents are concerned the homes will put a strain on the water supply, existing infrastructure, and community services. To address those concerns, the RM of St. Andrews added 17 conditions to the application before approving it in May.
It's a supply and demand type of market where people are looking for this type of thing and looking for homes for first-time buyers or people that want to stay in St. Andrews but don't want a large 4-acre lot.
St. Andrews CAO says the province still needs to approve the water supply plan. However, the developer can now get to work addressing the district's conditions. Mama Wichita is marking a big milestone. It's been 40 years since a small group of Indigenous community members came together in response to the high number of Indigenous kids going into care.
The idea was that they wanted to have an Indigenous-led solution, Indigenous programming for Indigenous people. So they really started, I think it was a small building on Notre Dame Avenue that was really about creating space for Indigenous people to seek help and advocacy from Indigenous people.
Since then, Executive Director Tammy Christensen says it's grown to 19 locations with at least 200 Indigenous staff members offering well over 50 programs. It includes programs supporting unhoused people, reunifying families, and helping disadvantaged youth.
So we're seeing families, children coming out of care and returning to the care of their families. A lot of our residential care programs, we see kids that have been really struggling on their own, that are now successful young adults. And it's really beautiful because sometimes they'll come back and just share where they are in their lives now. But I think overall it really is about just creating strength within the Indigenous community.
Christensen adds a community celebration is being held next Friday at 445 King Street between noon and 4 to mark 40 years. A gala is also planned for the fall.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber. Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Tom Papa.
Colleen Brady is back now for Spotlight, and we kink things off with a cool new show at the planetarium this weekend.
That's right. It will take you on a journey, Marilee, through the night sky from an Indigenous perspective. And Wilfred Buck's Star Stories shares 4 of them with the audience. The Indigenous astronomer includes teachings handed down by Cree elders over the generations to provide a different perspective from Western ones to a wider audience.
The concepts that Indigenous people talk about in regard to stars is not only, it's in regard to everything, because we're told that everything is connected.
Wilfred Buck's Star Stories opens Friday evening with a VIP premiere before running daily throughout the summer starting June 28th. You can find a full schedule on the Manitoba Museum's website.
It seems there is a lot of anticipation for this year's Folk Fest.
Right, and that should come as no surprise as the Winnipeg Folk Festival is celebrating 50 years this summer, and organizers are warning tickets are selling fast.
I've been playing out a lot of hypotheticals in my mind.
That's Lake Street Drive, just one of the dozens of bands of performers you can expect to see over the 4-day festival next month. The festival is now issuing a low ticket alert for 4-day passes and says for the first time ever, they're preparing to potentially sell out tickets ahead of time of the actual festival. Now, with that in mind, it's also warning people to beware of unscrupulous resellers offering tickets online. Folk Fest runs July 10th to 13th. Find tickets online at winnipegfolkfestival.ca.
All right, for Bruce Springsteen fans, October cannot come fast enough.
That's right, but to tide you over, the first trailer for Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere was just released.
Never owned a new car before. It's awfully fitting for a handsome devil rock star.
Based on the book of the same name, Jeremy Allen White is portraying Springsteen and does his own singing. The film will chronicle the making of Springsteen's 1982 Nebraska album. It's in theaters October 24th.
Big fan of Jeremy Allen White. I'm excited to see this
Very
movie.
talented.
All right, now to something for fans of the Prince of Darkness.
Okay, this is a little weird, Mary.
More than a little weird, very weird.
Buckle up, folks. How would you like to own the DNA of an aging rock star?
There will never be another Ozzy Osbourne. Unless you have his actual DNA. Introducing...
As enticing as it sounds, the company Liquid Death is selling a limited run of these iced tea cans containing traces of Ozzy Osbourne's actual DNA. They're called Infinite Ozzy. It features 10 cans of Liquid Death iced tea that were consumed by the Prince of Darkness himself. He even signed each packaging label, but it will cost you close to $500. By the way, Ozzy's final show is next month at Villa Park in Birmingham, England. It will also be live streamed.
That's what you think. Somebody's going to have his DNA, so maybe we'll have 2.0 Ozzy for future concerts.
And you can drink iced tea all along the way, I guess. Nice.
I think his fans are going to scoop them up, though, Colleen.
I have no doubt.
All right, thanks.
Delicious. Your primetime lineup kicks off at 7 with Transplant, that's what it's called, followed by Good Cop, Bad Cop, and E-Talk wraps up the night at 10:30. It's all right here on CTV. A live look at Donald Street, just coming onto and off of the Midtown Bridge. Traffic busy, but moving well there. All is back to normal out at Provencher and Des Mirons after the issues with the rail crossing. 27 degrees right now in Winnipeg. I will have more details to show you about that tornado watch in southwestern Manitoba.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with an update on that tornado watch she's keeping an eye on for us.
Right, and to be clear at this point, it is a watch. It's not a warning, so there are no tornadoes happening at this time, but the atmospheric conditions associated with this incoming low pressure system into southwestern Manitoba, well, put them together and they could produce a tornado. So hence the watch issued by Environment and Climate Change Canada earlier today. Now, I mentioned a thunderstorm moving through Dauphin. Environment Canada's weather station there is now reporting mostly cloudy conditions as that storm starts to pull off further to the east. It's a non-severe thunderstorm at this point, but this may not be the end of severe weather for Dauphin tonight. Dauphin is one of a few communities under that tornado watch. So again, it's a watch at this point. So that means conditions exist that tornadoes could develop in these thunderstorms that are expected to come through tonight, and these storms are expected to become severe. Whether or not they produce tornadoes, well, that remains to be seen. But the Dauphin region, Minnedosa region, and Verdun region all under that tornado watch. Further south, Melita under a severe thunderstorm watch. So we'll see this threat continue for the next few hours. Late this evening is the expectation, according to Environment Canada, when both the threat of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes will subside. But for the next few hours, please be vigilant if you are in the southwest. So it doesn't look like much on the Futurecast as does it. But as we get further on into the night, the potential for thunderstorms expands or extends really further east into places like Winnipeg and the Red River Valley. So late this evening or overnight, we could have some storms develop here too, but we don't have any watches or warnings in effect at this point. Further north, though, you can see not much happens. Pretty benign weather. We get into the afternoon tomorrow, we start to see a little bit of cloud encroach, but it will be another warm day across southern Manitoba. Some scattered showers popping up around the province, but you see more organized rain staying on the other side of the international border overnight into Saturday, when we will see a little bit of rain, or potentially quite a bit in that one pocket there in the southwest, move in on Saturday. Not expected to make its way to Winnipeg. Tonight, though, as I mentioned there, it's not a sure shot, but it's certainly possible. Storms could occur late tonight or overnight. 16 is the low, 28 tomorrow is the high under a mix of sun and cloud. Quick look at the long-range forecast. Mix of sun and cloud Saturday, hot one up to 27 degrees. We could see some rain as early as Saturday night. Showers, maybe a thunderstorm Sunday, 22 degrees. 18 and cloudy Monday, then we start to warm back up to 24 degrees by the midweek under a mix of sun and cloud. Our first weather photo takes a look at this beautiful sunset, beautiful sky, all those colors over St. Andrews. That photo is from Maureen. And this is Motown. Look at that beautiful coat. Oh. Out enjoying a walk with Laura in Assiniboine Forest here in Winnipeg. Send us your photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, the Stanley Cup is a little banged up after the Panthers celebrated their big win over the Oilers. The cup was damaged during celebrations in Fort Lauderdale. The bowl of the trophy is now cracked and the bottom dented. A spokesperson for the Hockey Hall of Fame said they are working on repairing it ahead of the parade set for Sunday. Now, damage is really nothing new when it comes to the cup. Back in 2021, Tampa Bay dropped the cup during its boat parade. The Colorado Avalanche dented it on the ice the night they won the following year. It'll be back and fine.
I was going to say, I bet that's not the first time.
Well, maybe they should wait to repair it until after the parade, too. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
But I guess fix it as it goes along before those problems get out of hand. All right.
Of experience.
You will have an update on the tornado situation that you'll be keeping an eye on for us at 6 o'clock. Plus, we'll have much more local news. Hope to see you then.